Welcome everyone to our elevation call, the first one of October. And today's the 6th of October, and we are now 6 days into the Transform Release. And just thank you guys. I think most of you all were on the kind of the emergency call that we had this past week. And just a recap that we are celebrating that after 9 years as a company, Zalise had a new birthday on October 1st, where Angie Thompson took 100% ownership and not just running the company, but actually owning the company of Zalise. And that is just a very, very big deal for those of us who have, most of you on this call have pioneered this company, this industry. And the fact that we have struggled quite a bit, not just due to the pandemic, but due to integrity issues of our former CEO. It is a beautiful day and a mark of resilience for every single person who has endured. So I want you to take one hand and I want you to pat yourself on the back and just say, hey, great job for sticking with this, because I believe the best is yet to come. And what I wanted to kind of do a little bit is to talk about really three things today. I want to talk about some product stories. And I'm not talking about your story because we covered that last time. I want to hear if you have in this last week or anything that you have not really shared yet. If you have a new product story, because I want to share two with you that just happened to me this week. And then I want to talk about business stories, and we need to know the difference between the two. And then I don't know if Susan Everett's on. Yes, Susan is on. Susan had a special request that we would talk about some aspect of personal development. And so we will finish with that. So thank you for that request. And thanks to all of you guys for being on this call. So as you're kind of thinking about who you've been talking to, you know that the category of cannabinoids and non-cannabinoids that all interact with this endocannabinoid system, this fuel that we love and that has changed our lives. It's amazing to me that when I talk to people, which is what my job is, and I have more than one hat. I actually am the director of whole health at Walmart's number one employee benefit. It's this 360,000 square foot building called Walton Center for Whole Health. And we have a lot of free services for members. It's like a fitness center, but it's also recreation. It's just a lot of things. And because of that, I talk to people every single day. And then on top of that, I love wearing the Zalise hat because it has really taught me how to talk to people and how to listen, even more importantly than talking. And so I wanted to share two stories with you guys this week. And then I'm going to ask if you have anything that you would like to share as well. And I'm going to specifically ask Lorena and Christina to share a little bit about some of the activities that they were doing this weekend in Evansville. So just a note. But first story I want to tell you is about Mandy. And how many of you guys have ever heard of reformer Pilates? It's a form of exercise with machines. Debbie's heard of it, Judy. I know Susan has because we've had that conversation. So I, as the director of whole health, have had to roll out this reformer program. There's actually 6 machines. It's a fascinating form of exercise. It's kind of a cross between physical therapy and exercise. It's very interesting. But I am in a group of 6 people that are meeting twice a week to do the exercise. And so that's kind of an extra cost, but I've invested in my own well-being by doing this 2-day-a-week class. And so I know a little bit. I know some of the other women who come and do this class with me. And on Thursday, I had Mandy came to class late and she's on the end. And the whole class stopped and the instructor said, Mandy, are you okay? And she said, I have this splitting headache and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stay. And that, of course, I look and I'm like, so Mandy, do you have headaches? Do you have migraines? And she said, yes, I suffer from migraines. And once they get started, I usually have to just go home and lay down and get in a dark room. And so if I walk out of here, just know that I'm not upset. I just don't feel good. And so does anyone have any idea what I did? Judy, you want to answer that question? What did I do?
You gave her topical.
No.
Oh,
I asked her a question. I said, hey, Mandy, have you ever tried CBD? And she looked at me like she didn't know what it was. But the girl and the reformer next to me, her name is Autumn. We've already had the CBD conversation. She's an advocate. And so she goes, "Oh my gosh, Mandy, you've not tried CBD?" And so I jump up and I'm like, "Do you want me to dose you right now?" And so she goes, "Yeah." So I jumped up, I go out of my backpack and I drop some CBD and some CBG under her tongue, 2 drops of each. And then I look over and my boss is looking at me like, "What the H are you doing?" So if I'm no longer employed, I'll let you guys know. But I thought, I'm going to take the risk, because if somebody had asked me for a Tylenol or something like that, I mean, like, if you have it, you share it, you help them. And so I bit my tongue after I dosed her. I didn't say a word. I just went back to my reformer and we did a 1 hour class. At the end of class, I looked over and Mandy was still there. And I said, "Hey, Mandy, how are you feeling?" And she goes, the weirdest thing. She goes, "I have no headache. It just completely stopped." And she goes, I'm like, "What?" She goes, "What in the heck did you give me?" And so I'm like, "Well, she goes, can I get a picture of it? Can I, like, because I need to get it, And so my boss is sitting right here and I'm like, "Let me just get your contact information and I'll shoot you some information." But that is one story that was that happened in front of 6 different people, that literally, so who knows why does CBD and CBG help with headaches? Who knows?
It's for yeah, swelling. Is it because it's an anti-inflammatory? And it's
Yeah, that would.
and it's the swelling of all this stuff up here, and so it brings the swelling down, right?
So I absolutely, I'm going to have Dr. Todd like correct us if we're wrong, but one of the things that I know, when you fuel the endocannabinoid system, obviously it balances and regulates things, right? So if you're over the top on inflammation, if she's been really stressed out from coming from work, then it's going to help to shift the body from the state of fight, flight, and stress to rest, digest, and heal, which can actually calm the central nervous system. Is that right, Dr. Todd? You're still muted. There you go.
Can hear. Yeah, that's a good answer. I think, really no one really knows exactly why cannabinoids work, and it's not that they don't want to know, guys. It just costs so much to know.
Right.
But the mechanism of action
The
is
mechanism of action is pretty close. The cannabinoid's primary goal in the brain is to dilate arteries. So, when you're
Okay.
when you're stressed, um, and the arteries have little muscles around them, very complex network of muscles and neurons and stuff, and they can really get out of whack pretty easy, actually. And for millions of people, as we know, that are ill, so CBD acts on right on those muscles in the arterioles, the small arteries, anything that's an artery type of vessel is where cannabinoids have a profound impact. That's why some
Well,
people feel it quickly and some people don't, because same way, we don't know exactly why, but that's sort of one of the mechanisms of action.
the other thing I've heard is that specifically in the brain, that there are more receptors for cannabinoids than even opioids. And
Mhm.
so people who are using opiates for pain, a certain percentage of them are going to respond to cannabinoid therapy because there's just more receptors in the brain that help with pain signaling. And so that was, another interesting, just an interesting thing for you to know. Not that we make claims about the fact that we're going to take headaches away, but it just was the right time, right place, and the right small group of people that I was able to dose her when she really needed it, not knowing if it was too late to use it. But and Judy, to your thought, I never even thought about topical. I just immediately thought about the systemic effect of the oral. So have
Susie,
you? Yeah.
Susie used some topical on our great niece one time when she was looking for something for migraines, and with great success.
Oh,
She,
that's fantastic.
yeah, she was looking for pills and getting ready to leave the party, I think. And uh, Susie had her, put topical and certain, and they stood there and talked for a while. And pretty soon she said, "What'd you do to me?" So,
It's amazing for people who have had, like, just that, especially that pre-migraine feeling, and
Even
so it was really,
for sinus
what was
headaches, for sinus headaches, you don't want to get too close to your eyes, but I've had a headache right during my sinuses and I use that and I don't have to take anything. So
good deal.
that's a big deal, because there's some heavy duty meds that some people are on for migraines. So for me, that's story number one. And then I have another story that I wanted to share with you guys, and then I'm going to let you share some with me. So my second story is about a lady named Lauren. And when I'm working in this area called Rest and Recharge, they have a lot of pieces of equipment that are complimentary for Walmart employees, like hydro massage beds and compression chairs. And they have something called red light therapy. Have y'all heard of red light therapy at all? So a red light has a specific frequency of light that actually has healing properties. It helps bring blood to the surface, and it helps to rejuvenate skin and create some positive healing environment. And so I was helping this lady go back to set up for the red light, and she was putting it on her ankle. And I said, Lauren, I said, tell me about your ankle. And she said, oh my gosh, I fractured it, 10 years ago, and I have pins and screws, and it just hurts me all the time. And so I put this red light on it, hoping that it's going to help heal it. And so what did I ask her? Who knows what I asked Lauren?
Have you ever tried CBD?
Thank you, Jenny Todd. One of the best I know at talking to people. So I said, Lauren, have you ever tried a topical CBD? And sometimes I'll say, have you ever tried cannabinoids, just to see what they know? And she hadn't. And she goes, well, I'm pregnant. Isn't that supposed to be something that I wouldn't be taking? And so I said, absolutely not. I, said, hey, the very first system of the body that's formed in utero is the endocannabinoid system. And I said, I actually, for 8 years prior to me coming here, I pioneered a brand of CBD that's water soluble, and we see it do really well on ankles. Would you mind if I just grabbed it and rubbed it on your ankle, and then you put the red light on it and tell me how it works? And so she said, absolutely. So I went and got my own topical, and I put a little dime size amount, rubbed it, let her rub it on her ankle, and then put the red light on it. And then I left. Literally, I left. I took her phone number in my phone, and I said, let me send you a little information on what I'm doing to you. So I got her information on my phone, and then I left the whole area, and I didn't talk to her again. Well, this weekend I got a text from Lauren, and she said, hey, she said, I'm the one that you put that topical on. I just want to buy some. She goes, it really did help me. I noticed the difference, and I just want to buy some from you. Or can you tell me where to get it? And so it's complicated. So I'm employed by a company that doesn't sell this product or any product like it. And so I said, hey, why don't we you can send me a check or Venmo me. Let me just put it in the mail to you. And so we did Venmo. She sent me her Venmo, and I am going to put it in the mail on Monday. So two different customers. One of them I have not yet followed up with. That was the first one, Mandy. And then Lauren actually bought retail from me today. And so I've never, ever repped a product that works like this before. And because I was 13 years working for another company that, had a nutritional product that was good, but I get excited when I see total strangers that want to give me their Venmo or their credit card because this product works for them. And so what I'd love to do is to start on Elevation and just have a segment where if someone has a new story to share, that we would love to hear it, because we want to know what's working and how you're communicating those benefits to people. So if anyone has a story that they'd like to share, just you can either raise your hand or just shout it out.
I have one, Connie.
Connie.
Yes, I have one. I think I said last time that I had been on Ultra Burn and for weight loss.
Yes.
And the Amalaki was really a nice addition to that. And so this week I started adding the Shield and Edge to my drink in the morning. So I am fully charged and raring to go. It's just a drink that's packed with a lot of possibilities, and it helps me discern what I want to eat instead of just grabbing whatever's there. And I've made very good choices, and I am now down 20 pounds. Say yay!
That is awesome. And you know, I don't remember exactly what your point of weight loss was when I saw you when I was in Evansville, but Connie, it was very visible. Like you're always been
Between
a
10
beautiful
and
lady,
50,
but
probably.
you look like a hot chick.
I love you.
Congratulations, Connie. So your drink is Burn, Amalaki, Shield, and Edge all together in
All
water.
together. So it's really good and sweet with a little hint of mint.
That's good to know, man. Thank you
It
for
works.
sharing.
Gonna keep
Anybody
it
else
going.
want to share a product story?
I will, Lisa.
Thank you, Deb.
It's been a long time, but I know they came to one of our meetings that we had in Franklin, Tennessee. But it was friends of mine, and he was born with too many bones in his feet. So your ankle story kind of reminded me. But he was born with too many bones in his feet. So he had a lot of surgeries when he was little. Well, when he got older, of course, he got arthritis and aches and pains in his feet. And I met at one of the local fairs that we have, and he was like limping around. And I said to him, I said, your feet still bother you today? And he goes, oh, they're killing me because I've been on my feet all day. And I said, remember we talked about that topical that I had? You want to try it? So I gave it to him. I gave him the sample, the little bottles, the jars, and he brought it home and he called me like a day later and he goes, I don't know what's in that, but I need a bigger bottle. So he's been on it for almost the 6 years that I've been on this with Zalise. And he uses it twice a day, morning and night. He used to have to get cortisone shots in his feet every 6 months. He hasn't had one since.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
His wife will use it on her back when she's in the car for too long. So she uses it on her back. So
That's a
that
great.
stuff he tells everybody. But he came to one of our meetings. I think it was the last one before COVID hit, but that March. But he stood up and shared his story about it at the
That's
time.
awesome, Deb. And you know, just you being the sharer, it's a beautiful thing to know that you've spared him cortisone shots and side effects and all those things. So great story. All right, guys, one more story, product story, and then we're going to shift to business. And then I'm going to have Lorena and Christina share a little bit on their Evansville experience.
I will.
Oh, Judy, is that you?
That's me.
Let's
Okay.
hear it, girl.
I have a toothache. I've had a toothache for a couple of months. It hurts when I drink something hot or cold, or try to chew on it. And of course, you know how you go to the dentist and yeah, I'll see you in 3 months. Wasn't really sure how I was going to live with it because it was really painful. And my sister said, try ice. So it was an upper tooth. So what I do is I get the dropper really sloshed up and I rub it against that tooth that hurts. I started to cancel my dentist appointment. I'm glad I didn't, but I'm having no problem with it. I really am not. So
the Ultra Ice, you rub it on your gum or your tooth?
I rubbed it right at the gum level, right
at the gum level.
The gum level. Of course,
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but it's for inflammation and it does. I did go to the dentist. I do have infection in there. I'm going to have to deal with it, but that sure saved me a lot of pain in the last 2 months.
That reminds me that I know Steve and Jenny have a dentist on their team who uses a lot of Ultra Ice for. Do you guys remember exactly what she does with the ice?
Usually prepares it.
Same thing. Yeah, she irrigates and flushes it around just like what everybody do.
For inflammation.
Inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
great to remember.
regularly.
Ultra Ice. Thank you for that.
Hey,
Very
Lisa.
good. Yes, Jean?
Yeah, I was also going to say the topical, when I get, occasionally toothaches from my upper plate, or, I say toothache, but jaw pain from my upper plate, I just rub the topical on the outside and it seeps through, and that works wonderful also.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Jean. Did anybody else have their hand raised? Because I can only see a certain amount of you guys. Okay. because I'm going to move on. I want to separate our product stories from a business story. And one of the things I'm celebrating today and this week is that I have been waiting for the day where I could have a business conversation with people in full integrity. I did not want to invite people to look at this business platform when I couldn't really be sure of what was going to happen. It was just a very uncertain future. And now I have had a very large list of people who have been using product that I said, there may be a day that I want to have a business conversation with you about this project. And I had one of those conversations today with a guy named Brandon. And I work with Brandon. He's a director of fitness at the same facility that I work. And you guys might remember that I was selling somebody a bottle of Vibe at work, and he backed out at the last minute. And it was right on the premises. And his boss came out and asked him what he was doing. And this guy said, "Hey, I was looking at this product." The boss bought it, and that's Brandon. And so Brandon has fallen in love with Vibe and Glow. And has been a product user for at least 3 months. But he is very well connected. He's a nice person. He's a kind man. He's a hard work ethic. He opens the building at 5, closes at 9. It's a long, life sucking job. It really is. And so I texted Brandon on Tuesday and I said, our company has made an announcement. It is time for that business conversation that we were going to have. And so literally today, Sunday, we met at a coffee shop. I brought Hal with me because I believe that those business conversations need to happen in a three-way form. And it's one thing for you to have a one-on-one conversation with someone, but until you bring a third party in, that's why we do three-way phone calls, you will not have full power in this business. And so we heard Brandon's story, like Hal and I together. We asked him to tell us all about his story. And then I told Hal why I wanted Brandon to look at the business project with us. And all we did was really kind of tell our story. Hal told his pain story. Brandon heard my son's story. We took the tear sheet, just a black and white copy of it. I asked Hal if he would walk through it with Brandon. We talked a little bit about just what he's using and how much that if he did this as a business, how much would it, investment would it be on a monthly basis, and how would he get started? And he said, "I'm in." And so it's literally the first business conversation that I've had with somebody that I really think could build something. And this is in Northwest Arkansas, and we're all spread out. Linda Painter, who's on this call as well, she's in Springdale. This guy's more in the Bentonville area, which is, about 30 minutes north. So it's like we're all spread out. But I was excited that he was open and that I have a platform now that I can, in total 100% confidence, share with someone else. And so here's my takeaway is, do not think you're going to have a business conversation with everybody that's open to this product. Trust me, that was my approach when I first started. Do you have a pulse? Then you can be on my team. And I had a very, very, very bad situation happen. Some of you guys might remember the story with a very toxic person who joined our business and really tried to destroy me and everybody who wraps the lease. Just a very toxic guy. And literally it could have destroyed, my family. It just, we thought at one point he was going to bring a gun in a meeting. I mean, it was really scary. I had a friend come that was an ex-military person just to protect us all. So I'm saying that when you have that business conversation, the only thing I can think about was pearls before swine. Like the business, what we have in this group of people, there's 15 of us on this call, is so precious to me that I'm not going to allow anyone, just because they exist and they have a health issue, to be part of this. And so in my mind, I am looking for the best, the kindest, the most talented, the most networked. I'm looking for the best of the best. And I'm going to treat them with very careful kid gloves, making it very clear to them that this is a compliment that I've chosen to have this conversation with you. And it might not be the right thing for you. So just like Bo says, it's no big deal if you say, you can say no to me, but now is the time, guys, to think about, the Judys and the Marshes and the Todds and the Debbies and those people that are super high quality that have been using this product and having good results, that you can go to them and say, guys, this may or may not be something that you are interested in personally, but I have a project that I have been dying to tell you about, that I just Monday really got clearance that we will be continuing this company and that it's going to be the best that it's ever been. And so that's really what I'm talking about, is that I want you in your mind to understand that we're not going to pitch business to everybody. And I don't mention it to people because most people just they're not going to grow enough to learn how to do this business. They don't have what you guys have. And so at the end of the day, we give them a great product at a great price with a lot of benefits. And those people who have positive experiences that ask me, so how did you tell me about your Jeep? Like Brandon literally did not know that the company paid for this Jeep for us. And so then we can have those conversations. But the more people that are in our funnel, the better the chance we have of finding those gems, those people like you guys that see it, get it, and want to help people with it. And don't try to have that conversation by yourself. Let us help you with that. And Todd's are some of the best that I know. I mean, the Todds are very capable of having their own business conversations, but they always pull either Hal or myself into that call just because nobody does this business by themselves. The bigger the goal, the more people it takes to create it in life. And so I just wanted to make sure that we understand the difference. And as now we have the stable platform to start building, what I'm going to show Brandon is Bo's get 3 in your first month model. Come in at gold, get 3 golds, sponsor 3 golds, and then 1 gold a month thereafter. And that is the model that I'm going to teach him how to do. And that's what I want to recommend. The people that really want to do this as a business, we want to show them where the money is because they're entrepreneurs and there's a lot of ways to make money. This is just one of them. So hopefully that makes sense. Does anybody else have a business story that they would like to share?
Hey, Lisa, I do.
Jenny, let's hear it, man.
All right, all right. But this goes way back. This is actually, I think this is a business associate in the Czech Republic. And, we had a really good group in Europe. And, because of things that transpired and, had just didn't have the support and not show up and whatnot, we didn't lose touch, but, this person just disappeared. Well, a week and a half ago, he reached out. He had seen us on Facebook. And so I just reached right back to him, I said, oh, it's so great to hear from you, Oda. So we have a Zoom Tuesday with Oda in Czech Republic. Oda loved these products. Things have changed in his life. His career, he's kind of switching careers, but very, very health oriented. And as a matter of fact, he and his wife are going up Mount Everest. They're going to hike to base camp. They're not going to go higher than that. But my point of this is, like they always say, you just never give up on people, and here this has been dropped in our laps. I don't know if anything will happen from it, but you just never know till you just send them a message back and set something up and get with them. So
that's a beautiful story, Jenny. And it's also, if you had quit when you were, rightfully feeling violated that your CEO lacked integrity to not show up for business appointments, you guys have stuck with this. And that's the beautiful thing about really you guys and the people on this call, that your vision has been greater than what we could really see at the time. And so thank you for sharing that, Jenny. Very beautiful. All right, I'm going to ask Christina and Lorena to share about their antics in Evansville. I think Christina was a speaker at a conference. I don't know if Christina, are you there?
Yes.
Can you, hey there, girl, how are you?
Good, making dinner.
Oh, do you have just a minute to tell us about your speaking engagement?
Yeah, so we set up a table because they had kind of a vendor booth kind of thing to start with. So Lorena helped me carry things in, get that set up. And that was kind of where the magic started, to be honest. People saw it, and we were really the booth that the majority of people visited because it was for the MS Association. So I've been working on them all year, to be honest, to get in and really kind of share a little bit more. But I've had to go about it a little bit different in the beginning and start with like vibrational frequencies and essential oils and telling them, everything that has flowers has terpenes. And that's how I kind of led into hemp. So it's kind of been a long journey, right? It's kind of been a long journey for myself to try to get in there. But then when she was putting together this All About Me Day, she was like, hey, since you came in, we've have people asking more questions about hemp, and our board is actually willing to let you speak. They are willing to let you have that conversation. So we kind of new day for them. This is the first time they've done this since COVID, and it was a whole weekend event before COVID. We were in the afternoon, so the crowd kind of dwindled a little bit, but that really didn't matter because people had already stopped by, gave us their information and said, hey, give us a call. We want to know more. And then I led the presentation, really kind of walked through that, this stuff has been around since 1850, pulled some of the slides that we've had in some former presentations and used those because they really do speak to what we do. The look on people's faces when I was like, and the 4 years of the war after 1937, yep, it came back, and government brought it back for whenever they needed it for the war, and then they got rid of it again. And the look on people's faces are like, hold on a second, you mean really Eli Lilly? Yep, Eli Lilly, people know that name, and they're like, they had all these prescriptions that had cannabis in them. So it was really cool to be able to separate hemp from marijuana in the cannabis field because people hear cannabis and it's really confusing. Really expound upon the fact that it's just not CBD, it's all of these different cannabinoids, and to be able to show them, what all of these different cannabinoids do, and just really talk about the entourage effect and things like that in the body. It was a really, really cool opportunity. It's the first time that I've spoke outside of a presentation or something like that, or a class that I kind of put together to get my foot in the door. But this is the first time I'm a public speaker. I can add it to my resume now.
Well, you've always been a public speaker, but we're so proud of you for having the courage to create your own content and find a way to get your message and your voice heard. That is awesome. And I heard you had a sidekick.
I did. So I actually thought about reaching out to Lorena and asking her, because I know her story, and if she wanted to come down, but although I didn't want to put the pressure on her to drive down from St. Louis. But she actually sent me a message, and she's like, hey, you can say no if you want to, but if you are willing, I want to be there to help support you in your event. And I was like, freaking awesome. So I'm telling you, I just stood back and poured amalaki for people at one point, and they got to listen to Lorena and her story. But I prompted her with like 5 questions, and I'm like, all right, so I made her think, to be honest, because they're questions that she hadn't really looked at in her journey. Like, really, when were you diagnosed? How long have you had this battle? When did you add these products? What kind of medications were you on before you started these products? Did you start these products when you were on medications? When were you able to go off of them? Do you still deal with some of the symptoms of MS today? Because, she has figured out how to manage her symptoms, and to listen to her story and how sometimes just to get overheated by the fire, just a few weeks ago would have at one point took 3 days for her to recover for. And, just a few weeks ago, she was able to get in, sit down, and within an hour and a half, she was able to get back to life. So to hear her story just expand even further, because, we know Lorena, we know her bunny story and things like that, but to really hear her dig into her story and tell that to people, like, they just stared at her and listened as she put the words together, because I know she gives herself a hard time, for some time not being able to find those words. And she really puts a lot of emphasis on that. But I think it opened a new door for her. Like, she just really eloquently spoke her story to people, and they just wanted to stand there and listen. Other speakers were speaking, but they didn't even go in to listen to a couple of those. They just stayed there to listen to her story. So I just thought that was really cool to watch and be a part of as well.
Well, I'm celebrating this, and it sounds like both of you guys have a future on the road, sharing stories about holistic living. And Christina, you're radiant, and I'm just proud of both of you guys. Lorena, what do you got to say for yourself, you speaker, you?
Well, Christina was great because I'm a good follower, and I think eventually good followers make better leaders. Hopefully, not
Absolutely.
better than you, but just it just will help. And it did. I have a whole bunch of books that I was or pages because I kept writing something, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, that's not it. And I hadn't done it for a long time, but it was very helpful. I had some of it, but Christina really drew some things out of me that I couldn't, get there. And actually, it was really funny because I think I told you, Lisa, earlier that she said, yeah, you were doing so good. And then all of a sudden, I thought you were going to go off into a tangent, but you didn't. You were so good. And I'm going, and I really am trying, but it was very fun. And to talk to the other people. And a lot of them are like, what? You have MS, but when I walked in the morning and I had not had, there was somebody that was there and I had had my happy coffee, but not my morning cocktail. And I couldn't think of anything. I got lost going there but I was in a good mood about it. And later on, she came over and she was talking to me, and somehow she's like, "Yeah, I know how you were doing," And there was a definite difference from having the morning when I forgot my brush, and luckily they had somebody that would do my hair. I was so excited. French braid, which I love. But and then she saw me later, and she's like, it was almost a double take. And I don't know if I'm the only one, that saw it, but she was like, yeah, we talked to her earlier, and when she first came in, and I forgot how she put it, but there was a difference, and it was pretty good. But it was a lot of fun. That's what I love to do. I love people, and that's my
Well, I want to
favorite.
shout out to you, Lorena, for the phenomenal job you did with the three-way phone call with Cindy as well. And so Lorena texted me and she said, hey, I have a nurse in Evansville who, I'm talking to, and I'm like, let me talk to her. Like, pair people who have similar backgrounds on a three-way phone call. And it's not like we're trying to really sell anybody. We're just trying to answer their questions together. And Lorena did a great job setting that up and muting herself. And the outcome of that three-way phone call was she's like, oh my gosh, I want you to talk to my daughter, who's her grandson's mother. And so now after this call, Lorena is going to do a four-way phone call with which is really no different than doing a three-way phone call. It's just with one other person. And we're going to bring that daughter on the call and kind of go over the same information as well. So great job, you guys. The beauty to me of having started 8 years ago and having traveled this journey with you guys is that we're here to help each other. And when it's one person, you kind of think, they might be crazy, but two people looking like they're having fun is really a fun group to join. So Lorena, you and Christina obviously were that fun group. And I wanted to, because we have an 8 o'clock, I want to just kind of move on. Where's Susan Everett? Is Susan here?
Yes.
Susan Everett, what did you ask for on this elevation call?
I said that you used to do a lot of motivational stuff on the calls, and I was hoping you would get back to maybe doing that now.
Yeah, instead of just like,
Instead of just beating up on us, tell us
yeah,
something good.
exactly. Tell you something good. So here, this is for you. Are you ready? Okay. And so I'm going to put Susan on the spot and I'm going to make her answer a question for me. So scientists can bring people into a lab and ask them to pull a rope as hard as they can as they measure how hard they pull it. Can you visualize that? So
Yes,
scientists are bringing people into a lab, then they put them in a group or a team and they ask them to pull again. So it's one person pulling a rope versus a group of people pulling a rope, but they're only measuring one person and how they pull. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So my question is, what happens and who pulls harder, the person by themselves or the person in a team or a group? Susan?
The person in the team or group
Pulls harder?
pulls harder.
Okay. Does anybody else want to share a differing
Apparently
viewpoint?
that was not right.
Everyone's afraid to say anything.
Well, the person that initially did a solo pull with a group, she didn't pull as hard, but the end result was probably 100-fold.
Yeah.
Look at Jenny. Okay, so I'm going to read you this. This actually came from Brian Johnson, one of my favorites. He says, on average, they don't pull as hard when they're with other people as when they did by themselves. So think about that. So a person that's pulling by themselves versus that same person pulling with other people, that person doesn't pull as hard when they're with other people. And there's a name for that. Do you guys want to know what that's called?
Elevation call.
Elevation call. Jenny. It's called social loafing. It's the phenomenon that they found. And so people tend to be a bit lazy when their individual effort is masked with a collective effort. The antidote. Who knows what the antidote is to social loafing? You can see Jenny's wheels are turning.
Accountability.
Well, that's good, Judy. You must be a school teacher.
Who knows?
Look at her. So here's the thing. If the group sees one person who is clearly going all out, then the other people will work harder. So here's my challenge to you and my one thing about personal development. Go be that one person. And as we formulate our goals and we get on the Freedom Call tomorrow night, I want you guys to think, you as a collective part of this team, working your hardest, what does that look like? How far could we go as a team together? Susan, do you have an answer to that?
My attorney has encouraged me not to answer any more questions.
Look at you. You look like one of those, like you've got a black shirt and a black background. So you kind of look like you're doing like a video testimonial of some type.
Oh, floating head.
A floating head. We love picking on Susan. Oh, there's a little bit of color on her shirt. So, okay, guys, that's all I got, man. Look at kindness matters. I like that. That's really good. Social loafing, guys. I thought that was a really interesting thing to think about because I love our group. And I've been literally idling for a long time, waiting for this moment. And so I think we have to I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm saying that you need to take a minute and think about, if you're working your hardest, keeping everything into account as to where you are in life and all the responsibilities that you have. What does working your hardest look like? And I want you guys to spend just a minute with yourself answering that question. And I would love to hear what your new goal would be for the fourth quarter. And that means October, November, December. What would, if you could do anything, realistically, what rank would you want to hit before the end of the year? If you knew that Angie was 100% owner of this company and there was nobody that could pull the rug out anymore, how hard would you work? And that's what I would love to hear from you guys. Is that a fair ask?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Jenny.
Yes.
What do you?
I saw Jenny.
Yes, the answer is yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, just wanted to hear it from you. All right, guys. So it's 7:45, and just wanted to let you know that we're Lorena. She got a three-way call going on at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm impressed with her work ethic. Really proud of her, and you get extra points for a four-way call. Just saying, we had to talk through it a little bit, but four-way calls is one more point than a three-way call. Just saying. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. And thanks again for all that you do and for sharing. Just think about it. I want to hear about product stories and business stories. We're going to kind of try to allocate time for each of those. At least you have a new one in the week. We want to keep thinking about how many people can we impact and create a story with. All right. Thank you for your time, guys. Lots of love. Proud of you
Not
guys.
all.
Thank
Don't
you.
be social loafing anymore.
Miss you, Rhonda.
Bye, Rhonda. I see Megan and Rhonda and
Bye.
who else did I miss? Linda. Good night,
Thanks.
everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Night.
Good night, Penelope.